Welcome back. Time to enhance your portfolio with the NSIC Stock Watch. David Brown is here to break down things after week 6, but first, we have to keep him honest and check on his
Honesty
predictions.
is always the best policy.
It is. We have to keep you honest. Your predictions from week 5. Let's see how they went. First of all, David, 2/3 of your takes depended on one game. It turned out to be solid advice. You buy Minnesota State, or you said to. They won 42-20 at MSU Moorhead. You also said to hold on to the Dragons based on the competition they faced. That turned out to be correct for the time being. You also advised selling Wayne State. The Wildcats fell to 1-5 with a road loss at St. Cloud State. So we are now halfway through, just about.
Yep.
Who are you buying this week?
Well, for the first time, I'm going to ask people to double up on a team I said to previously buy. Purchase more stock in Bemidji State. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I was wrong before the season. I thought the Beavers were going to take a step backwards without their all-time leading passer in Jordan Hine. Turns out the Beavers' defense and running have basically made the quarterback a moot point. In fact, the replacement for Hine, Brandon Ault, he's been out for the past month with a knee injury, probably isn't returning the rest of the season. But this purchase has more to do with the biggest statement game of the year in the conference, coming back from an 18-point second-half deficit to top a perennial playoff team in Sioux Falls 25-21. Suddenly, BSU looks like they're in position for a playoff push themselves. Their schedule is still tough down the stretch. That includes a home game against the #1 team in the nation, Minnesota State, on October 20th. We're going to have that game, by the way, right here on Midco SN. But Bemidji State definitely showed a moxie, and they showed a certain toughness that can carry them the rest of the season. That 18-point second-half comeback came with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, so it wasn't really the entire second half. It was about a quarter and a half. Really impressive stuff from Bemidji State coming back on homecoming, so it made that jump into the lake a little nicer, even with the cold temperatures.
Oh my gosh, some grit at home though, so that's
Absolutely
awesome for the Beavers. On the other side, David, who are you selling?
Well, I think I'm going to have to finally cut Concordia St. Paul loose.
No!
I know. Their schedule, it's fairly easy for the rest of the month, so they actually are probably going to win a few more here in October, but the Golden Bears, they're still a year or two away from being true contenders in this conference. Case in point, this past weekend against Northern State, CSP committed 6 turnovers and lost the game by a touchdown. Now, in most cases, you think, well, they were close despite all those turnovers, but that's kind of my point in general. CSP has suffered from a bunch of self-inflicted wounds throughout the season that draw attention away from their talent. They have really good skill players on both sides of the ball. Shaq Johnson's a great running back. Marcus Gustafson, MJ Williams are great receivers on offense. Chris Garrett, Marcus Haskins, a freshman corner on defense, leads the conference in interceptions. They're going to finish the season better than 2017. I can almost promise you that. But there's no point in hanging on to them for the rest of this regular season. They may be a buyback option for 2019. Kind of depends on how the end of the season goes. But for now, I would sell on Concordia St. Paul. Sell a little bit higher, maybe buy back a little bit lower for next season.
All right, sorry CSP.
Sorry CSP.
But anyway,
they have talent though.
They do have
I
talent.
admit they have talent.
All right, so buying the Beavers, selling the Golden Bears. Who are you holding this week?
Once again, no one freak out about Sioux Falls. Don't panic after their latest loss. Their 2 losses are by a combined 5 points this season. It's the way the Cougars lost that was pretty bad, but don't get me wrong, it's not a season ender. They're 4-2. They still have the best running back in the conference in Gabe Watson, who surpassed 1,000 yards in the season already in that Bemidji State game. Absolutely unreal numbers. He's got 400 yards more than MSU's Nate Gunn, who's second in the conference, which is pretty remarkable. USF just needs to continue going to its bread and butter and pound the football. Caden Walters has improved as a QB, but some of his poor decision-making hurt USF in that game. They couldn't sit on a 21-3 lead. Now, Sioux Falls probably can't afford to lose another game this season if they want to make the playoffs, but I still think they have the chance to run the table, even with a game at Minnesota State late in the season. If they refocus and move forward, I think Sioux Falls still has an outside shot of making the postseason. They've made it for 3 straight years, trying to go for 4 in a row, which no NSIC team has done in the past decade.
They're fine. The Coup are fine. Anyway,
for now, they're fine.
For now. Anyway,
but no room for error.
No room for error. But finally, onto your market trend for the week.
We're going to go defensive this week, and the reason I say that is because look at these numbers from interceptions. 7 of our 8 victors won the turnover battle. 7 of the 8 had at least 2 picks. The only team sans a pick was Minnesota State, but everyone else had at least 2, topped by Northern State with 4 in that win at Concordia St. Paul. So ball hawking secondaries are essential, Kelly, as we move forward with the second half of the season.